You know, if you had asked the Lord for a nicer day to share Yellowstone National Park with you, I don't know that He could have delivered. It is absolutely spectacular. Temperature is probably about mid-70. You've got big puffy white clouds in the sky, a little bit of a breeze, and we are just coming into the entrance, having driven through Grand Teton National Park. We're on our way into Yellowstone National Park, where we're going to spend 2 nights camping in a campsite. So it is really, really beautiful. This isn't my first time to the park. It's probably my 3rd or 4th time. So some of the highlights that I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to want to share the Old Faithful with you, of course. You know, we're going to have to go see Old Faithful. And I'm hoping that we're going to see some wildlife. And you can see just off in the distance there, some people that are doing some fly fishing, and we'll probably see some elk and buffalo and some hot springs and all that kind of stuff. So let's go check out Yellowstone National Park. We're not even 20 minutes into Yellowstone National Park, driving along the road to our campground. We're staying in Bridge Bay. And the road is just nothing short of gorgeous. Just lined with forest, lots and lots of forest. And then down here you have a hey, look, there's a Venezuelan. Wow, there's a Venezuelan. Oh, I didn't know I would see Venezuelan in Yellowstone. I know there's bear. And maybe there's wolf, but they didn't tell me that I would see a Venezuelan, but they told me don't get too close. Don't get too close to the Venezuelan, you know? Oh, yeah.
I say the same about the gringo.
Okay, she said the same about the gringo.
No, it's not true.
Be careful, come here. Don't go back there.
No, it's okay, here.
Okay, all right. Okay. So the Venezuelan is taking a video of the fall, or the river, and this would be the Snake River. You look at this. Got to be really, really careful so you don't slide down off of this. But there you can see there's the Snake River going through Yellowstone. Got to be careful, you know, you never know, you could come across a bear or something like that out here just walking around, so got to be conscientious of that all the time. Let's get on with the trip. We found our way to a stop here called Lewis Falls, and the view you can see here is just really beautiful. You see snow-capped mountains off in the distance, and here's the river that we were just looking at a moment ago. I want to say this is the Snake River, but just across from here you have Lewis Falls. I'm going to look both ways before crossing the road here, but if you can see that off in the distance, maybe we'll try to get a little bit closer. I found my way just a bit up further, and this is the viewing area here for Lewis Falls, right there. So you can stand on these large rocks like this and get yourself some nice pictures, nice photo ops here. Really nice. And as with every national park, you've got to stop at the visitor center. So we are at Grant Village, and we'll mosey on inside and see what information they might have here. We're staying in, I think it's called Bender Lake Campground or something like that. And I don't know what type of facilities that they're going to have at the campground. Maybe I'll be able to find out inside here. Let's go and take a look.
Please.
10 minutes.
So.
Got a nice fire going inside here. Waterfalls of Yellowstone. Not many people here today. Got the park rangers. Are you guys park rangers?
We are.
You are. You want to be on YouTube?
I would love to be.
You would, huh?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Ranger Oliver.
Ranger Oliver.
Yeah.
So Ranger Oliver, tell me, I've got the better part of staying here tonight. I'm staying here tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And I'm pulling out Monday morning. What should I see?
I just have to ask what's going to be used for.
This is YouTube.
Sure. Is it commercial?
No,
No? Okay.
not at all. It's not commercial, so I'm not in trouble?
Well, oh no, not trouble. We just have a public affairs office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just to officially represent the park in any capacity.
Yeah, so
we have
this
to get
is-
it approved.
No, this isn't anything official. This is just Tom TV, as people would say.
Personal YouTube channel.
It's a personal
Do you have
YouTube
any
channel.
advertisers
No.
on it?
No. Is that okay? Uh-oh, she's thinking.
I think
She's
it's best
thinking.
if I ask.
Huh?
Let me ask.
Okay, you ask.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna finish touring the visitor center. All
Thanks,
right.
Tom.
Thank you. All right. So I'm gonna take a walk around, and I don't want to get Ranger Oliver in trouble. So let's take a walk through. It's a nice visitor center. Yellowstone is really a beautiful, beautiful park. Here you see they've got the summer of '88. The summer of '88. That was a big fire, I believe. Here you've got some firefighter equipment. Really is a nice park. This is one of the nicer national parks in the world, without a doubt. I'm just hoping that I can see some, hoping I can see a bear. That would make this a really, really awesome trip if I could find myself a bear. So we'll step outside. The weather report, well, I already looked at that, but the weather report is going to be temperatures in the low 30s tonight. Step out here to the lake. I think this would be Yellowstone Lake, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Just beautiful. We're on our way to the campground, and we have our first, our first official wildlife sighting. Got some deer or elk. I'm not sure if these are deer or elk, just kind of grazing here along the shoreline of Lake Yellowstone. Or is it Yellowstone Lake? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But nonetheless, it's always cool to see wildlife out in their natural environment. I don't know if I can zoom in, but I can't. Anyway, on with the trip. Bridge Bay Campground. You know, this is just a bit nicer than I had thought. It is from the looks of it, we haven't gotten into our campsite yet, but we are in space number C-159, and I had booked 2 nights, and I asked the woman if we were lucky to have gotten these 2 nights. I booked a week ago, and she said very lucky. And there's no full, what are called full hookup sites here. There's no sites that have, the water, electric, and all that type of stuff. But she said that there is availability at what's called Fishing Bridge Campground for 2 nights, starting tomorrow night, which would be Sunday, July 1st, and for Monday, July 2nd. Well, we were going to pull out of here on July 1st, or July 2nd rather, but we may opt to spend the night. Now there's no frills here. It's just a very, you know, pretty much rustic campground. There are some buffalo that might come roaming through, but other than that, it looks like it should be a nice night. We can be able to have a campfire here, and we're going to go to a campfire presentation later tonight at 9:30 called Birds and Bees. So we're going to go see a nice campfire, do a nice campfire presentation a little bit later tonight. So with that being said, well, here is the sea loop. So let's come on in. These are our neighbors. Okay, we're pulling into the sea loop. The lady said, stay to the right. And we're in space number 159. No showers here, no laundry, just buffalo. And that's it. So we're gonna mosey around. Here's a nice little, look at this little camper right there. So when we camp in Fishing Bridge tomorrow night, you can't camp over there if you have you can't camp there with a tent, can't camp there with a soft-sided camper. You got to have hard-sided because of the bears. The woman said that they have a big problem with bears at the campground tomorrow night, so we have to be really, really careful. But so we're coming along. We're in space number 159. It's going to be cold tonight. Temperature is going to get down to about freezing. It's going to get down to about 30 degrees or something like that. So we'll find our space here. I'm not sure what spot it was. 150. Looks like 159. So that's 150. I'm just going to keep coming along here. I see 154. Okay. Nice and slow.
55,
There's 155.
56.
Okay. And I think our space is going to be just right up here. 155 should be our, what is it? 150. 159. Here's our space.
This one.
All right, so here we go. Here's our little space. Space number 159 at Yellowstone National Park. Okay, let's get settled. All right, with a nap underway, or a nap with a nap out of the way is a good way to say it. With a nap out of the way and dinner in our bellies, we decided to take a walk. And you would think that it was the middle of December, you know, with Yanae. Look at Yanae. She doesn't do cold that well, huh? I mean, here it is, almost July 1, and look at you. Are you cold?
Yes.
You are, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's, we're just gonna take a walk around the campsite. Now here's a camper. You know, maybe one day we'll have a camper like this. It's just basically a big home on wheels, you know. And then, you know, you got all these people here in tents, and I don't know. Maybe there once was a day when I would rough it in a tent such as that. But you know, I kind of like our little camper that we have, which we fired up the heat in that. Got a propane heater, and boy, it worked just like a charm. So another guy comes pulling in for a night. So we're not gonna do a campfire tonight. We are going to go to one of the ranger presentations here at a nearby amphitheater. We'll go and have a little. They'll have a campfire there, I think. So right now we're just going to kind of kill a little bit of time. Maybe chat up with some of the neighbors. Just across the road from the campground is the marina and a little store. So I thought I'd come down and check this out. You know, it's interesting when you're traveling and you don't have internet, you don't have TV, you know, and you got to kill some time between, got to kill some time before snuggling up for bed. Look at this here. Nice marina. People must bring their boats here and go out fishing. I'd imagine they probably catch some trout out there. There's like a sailboat coming in. It is cool tonight. Temperature I just saw is going to get down to 36 degrees here on June 30th. Yellowstone National Park, 36 degrees. And here we would have the Yellowstone General Store's Bridge Bay. Have some nice wooden rocking chairs out here. Kind of chill out on probably a little bit of a warmer evening. You could chill out and enjoy a nice evening watching the boats come in, waiting for your sailor to come in off the lake with the catch of the day. So they get looks like they got tackle and you got tackle. And they got wine. So Yene would like a little wine, I'm sure. That's a Yellowstone Bison blend. The stuffed animals that they got here. One of these places I'm going to pick myself up a nice hat. We should get Yene one of these hats. Nice little wool cap. Speaking of which, there's a look at that. Imagine seeing that come through the woods at you. All right, we're gonna go on to our what do you call it? Our nighttime show, the Ranger talk. Campground full. That's the sign you'd be seeing here at Bridge Bay Campground in Yellowstone National Park, and probably most of the campgrounds here in Yellowstone in the middle of the summer, although it certainly doesn't feel like summer. It is probably in the mid-50s as I'm filming this on June 30th, and it is going to be a chilly night. It's about 8 o'clock. You can see there's a queue of people wanting to get into the campground. So I thought that I would take a moment and as I'm walking back to the camper from the marina across the street, just give you an idea as to what you might expect if you're going to be coming to Yellowstone and you want to camp at this particular spot here. So camping rates, it looks like about $28, about $28 a night if you want to camp here. Here's a gentleman's got an Airstream camper. Another gentleman here from Arkansas. And all around the park you're going to see these signs that say, "Be bear aware, food storage required." So when you come into this campground, we set up our campsite probably about 2-3 hours ago. When you come into the campsite, they have these loops, so you come through and get set up in a loop. No electricity here. No electricity, no water hookup. They do have toilets. So they have toilets here if you don't have a camper and you're sleeping in a tent. But this is the campground right here. And if you were here with me as I'm filming this, you would see you would smell a lot of campfires burning. And the temperature is going to be I think I said it's going to be down to about 36. It's going to be down to about 36 degrees tonight. But you know, the staff coming in, the staff here are really, really nice. This looks like it's a food locker. This bear-proof box was made possible through a generous donation to Yellowstone Forever by Elizabeth Fabry Winehold. So there's your, what they would call a bear locker. So it is I was told that, and I've seen pictures where you will actually see bison or buffalo just kind of meandering through the campground here. So I'm going to go over and find my spot, and we're going to go watch a ranger presentation tonight at a nearby campground. I actually see my camper off in the distance there. And here's some folks that really know how to travel. They've got their RV set up. And then just across the way you've got some folks with a tent getting all situated for the night. This little trailer that you see right here, I was actually on my way to buy one of these campers. I was on my way to buy what's called an A-liner. I had my heart set on one of these little campers, and for all intent and purpose, it's probably a wonderful little setup. But the camper that I got, I think, is a little bit nicer. People go out of their way to stop me and compliment the camper that I've got, which is just over yonder, which would be, maybe you can see it off in the distance there, just between those trees. You can see my my little camper there. Maybe I can even zoom in on it. No? Okay. So that is your that would be your tour of the campground if anybody is thinking of coming camping here at there we go. There would be my whoops. So much for my camera work. I'm working with a camera that doesn't work that well. There. Maybe it'll come into focus now. I broke the little device that does the there. Now you can see my camper right there. which is called a Little Guy Max. If you Google Little Guy Max, you'll see the camper there. So anyway, hope anybody out there that is thinking of coming camping in Yellowstone, I hope that this video was of some help to you as far as knowing what you might expect if you were to be coming up camping. So have a great day and enjoy Yellowstone National Park. Alright, we're on our way to the ranger show, and just off the road here is these elk with the little babies, you can see. These little ones. Wow. We have started the second day of this visit to Yellowstone, and we decided to take what's called the middle loop. And not too far up from the campground where we started is this site of a buffalo just roaming, eating, well, whatever the hell he's eating. So it's a beautiful day in Yellowstone, and we should probably see a lot more of these guys as well. But I'm not going to I don't want to get too close to this guy, because they have been known to charge, and that's not something that I want to experience firsthand. We found our way next to Mud Volcano, and here is an area that just reeks of sulfur. And there's a warning. It says, in thermal areas, the ground may only be a thin crust above boiling hot springs or scalding mud. There's no way to guess a safe path. New hazards can bubble up overnight, and some pools are acidic enough to burn through boots. More than a dozen people have been scalded to death, and hundreds badly burned and scarred. So let's go check out the Mud Volcano. There's a path that you can walk along, and you know, as you walk along, you look down here, you can see the ground just kind of bubbling up. So let's go check out Mud Volcano. And just up ahead, here is Mud Volcano, and the board says explosive change. In 1870, explorers stood in awe as Mud Volcano spewed mud into the tree tops, shaking the ground with each eruption. 2 years later, it was a pool of bubbling, muddy water. Mud Volcano has blown itself apart. And it's and then it goes on to say, for many decades, visitors have been intrigued by Mud Volcano's powerful odor and the yellow sulfur that is most common in late summer. Sulfur is the source. Hydrogen sulfide gas rising from Yellowstone's magma chamber causes the rotten egg smell. The mud, microorganisms or thermophiles, use this gas as a source of energy and then help turn the gas into sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid breaks down the rock and the soil into mud. And then it goes on with the colors. Many of the colors you see are vast communities of thermophiles, but some of the yellow is pure sulfur. So will you look at that? I wish you could smell it. I actually kind of like the smell. Alright, the next thing to see here is the Dragon's Mouth Spring. An unknown park visitor named this feature around 1912, perhaps due to the water that frequently surged from the cave like the lashing of a dragon's tongue. Until 1994, this dramatic wave-like action often splashed water as far as the boardwalk that you're standing on. The rumbling sounds are caused by steam and other gases exploding through the water, causing it to crash against the walls of the hidden caverns. So there you have it. When you look at that. And walking back to the car, I thought to share this view with you. You look down and there's all types of little little pockets or pools or puddles, if you will, just kind of bubbling. And all the while you smell the sulfur. You know, I don't know that you ever really get tired of seeing these animals. Just really is something when you think about the history of the American bison and all that, the herds, and just really something else to see these in their natural habitat. Look at that animal. Just massive. Right here on the Yellowstone River. We found our way over to Beryl Spring on the way to Old Faithful. And Beryl Spring, under proper lighting, the spring shines like blue-green gemstone beryl. Its activity and that of adjacent springs was greatly altered by the '59 earthquake. The violent agitation of the water is due to the volcanic gases, mostly steam. Temperature of the water is usually a few degrees below boiling. It's one of the hottest springs in Yellowstone right here. You can just hear the steam coming out of the ground. Really is something to see. This view actually gives you a little bit of a better idea as to the color of the spring. You can see that steam just coming out of the ground over there. Next stop is Gibbon Falls here in Yellowstone. And this is probably one of the smaller waterfalls that I think you might find here in Yellowstone. Our visit isn't going to take us to any of the large waterfalls, but nonetheless, it's nice to see this one. Pan around, give you a view of the river coming up. As far as you can see, trees, like a carpet of trees across the terrain. And just walking back from the falls, we see this little guy or little girl. It's a, not sure if that's a chipmunk or not, but kind of patiently just sitting there watching us, watching him or her. Looks like a little squirrel. This looks like a scene right out of the movies. A couple guys waded into the river here doing some fly fishing. I remember years back when I came to a spot like this and the guy was fishing, I started taking some pictures and I kind of startled him because he thought maybe there was a grizzly or something. But if you haven't seen the movie A River Runs Through It, it's a really good movie to watch. We found our way to Fountain Paint Pots. The half-mile Fountain Paint Pots trail takes you through one of the most complex and dynamic hydrothermal areas in Yellowstone. Here you'll find geysers, hot springs, fuma rolls, and mud pots. The geysers and fountain group exhibit a variety of eruption patterns and intervals. In the spring, the mud pots are thin, soupy, and splash a lot. As the year goes on, there's less water and they become thick and gurgly. So we'll do the it almost looks like a in contrast to where we've been, looks like a no man's land out here. So we'll take the half mile trek out to out to the, well, out to the end and take a look at some of these. This would be the Celestine Pool right here, if you can see that. And just off to the other side here, you got all of this. Smells like rotten eggs, sulfur. This area right here is called Bacteria Mat, and just up from that is another pool. And boy, you know, it looks so inviting. Be nice if that were a little jacuzzi, maybe in the winter time. Be interesting to see all this during the winter. This is like a mud bath, just kind of bubbling. You look at that. I can't recall last time when I was in Yellowstone coming through this part of the park. Right here this says, this vat of bubbling mud contains the perfect mix of ingredients to create mud pots: heat, gases, water, volcanic rock, mineral, acid, and even living microorganisms. We're not too far from seeing Old Faithful, just a few miles up the road. A gentleman told me to go and check out the lodge. This actually, spring up here is just kind of bubbling up as I approach it. We made it to the end of the loop here. And end of the loop. I don't think there is such thing as an end of a loop, but we made it out to this point in the loop, and it looks like a rather active pool. I don't know if that's a geyser or not, but sure spouting up a lot of water and a lot of steam. Gotta check out the Grand Prismatic Spring, and that's where we are. This is the Midway Geyser Basin, and you can see we're actually right there. And we're gonna take the walk up to see the Grand Prismatic Spring. It's supposed to be really a spectacular sight to behold, and there is no shortage of people and cars wanting to see the same thing that we do. So we're gonna see if we can't find our way to the train, fighting all the people. You can see the nice, beautiful view of the river. If you look at pictures of Yellowstone online, you Google Yellowstone, you'll see the buffalo and Old Faithful and bears and what have you. But you're also going to see this. This is one of the big attractions here at Yellowstone. Look at that. Running right into the river. All right, here is one of the pools. It's not the main attraction here at this stop, but it's probably a smaller version of what we're going to see here momentarily, just across the way, right over yonder. would probably be the big attraction. Well, here it is, the Grand Prismatic Spring. Prism of light, spectrum of life. Grand Prismatic Spring is the largest and one of the most brilliant of Yellowstone's many colorful hot springs. Its massive expanse stretches approximately 200 feet. The high temperature of its water, 160 degrees, ensures the spring is often cloaked in steam, which it is today. Deep beneath us, magma from an active volcano heats water that rises to the surface through fissures in the rocks. The result is a hot spring that pours almost 500 gallons of hot water each minute into the fire hole. So, don't know how well you can see that, but there it is. Look down. The ground there. All right. There you have it. Nature's ultimate jacuzzi. It's probably as good a way as any to see Yellowstone. See, this is a old-time vehicle that gives tours through the park. To Old Faithful. You gotta check out the Old Faithful Lodge. That's what the gentleman at the RV park told me this morning. If we go see Old Faithful, he said, come over here and take a look at this lodge. It was built, I think he said, in about the 1930s, the winter of, built in the winter time, I believe he told me. So we'll take a look. Looks rather rustic, and Old Faithful is just up ahead. Old Faithful goes off once every hour, and if we're lucky, we're close to the eruption, if that's what you call it. So let's step inside and we'll take a look at the lodge on our way to seeing Old Faithful. I imagine it's probably rather pricey place to stay, I would imagine. Let's go inside and check this place out. Very busy place. Grab yourself a bite to eat. You got the Old Faithful Lodge cafeteria. And right out here is where you can sit. You have to sit here and watch Old Faithful go off. Alright, so let's, I gotta find out what time the next eruption is, if you will. And this would give you a view of the lodge from the other side, facing the geyser. Very, very busy place inside there. So the geyser is just off here, and I believe we gotta wait the better part of an hour or so before it goes off. So we'll see if we stick around. All right, in addition to the anticipation, I think that the pressure is building. And look at that, I see a little bit of, there's a little bit there, that's Old Faithful there. And there's a lot of people. I just saw a little water squirt out. So it's supposed to come out at about 6:26 plus or minus 10 minutes. And as I say that, right now it is 6:11. So it could come momentarily, or it might be another 20 minutes or so. But you can see that all types of people waiting here. So everybody's waiting to see Old Faithful. This is probably about the third time I've seen this in my life. Maybe the fourth, I don't know. But nonetheless, it's quite impressive to see it. It goes off approximately every hour, and it lasts for about 3 minutes. So we'll wait it out and see when it goes. All right, it looks like the Old Faithful is delivering. Look at that. There it goes. Wow. Fantastic. Wow. Old Faithful.
Say bye-bye, what you found. Come back and continue. You're very faithful. You're very faithful. Bye.
Well, there you have it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the visit to Yellowstone National Park here in beautiful Wyoming. What a wonderful sight to see.